Welcome to Motivation Stories Vault, where we uncover the hidden truths of success and the quiet power of realized dreams today. Once, there was a young woman with a heart full of vibrant colors and a mind teeming with wild, beautiful ideas. She possessed a burning desire to cultivate a garden filled with the rarest and most exquisite plants known to mankind. Overflowing with pure excitement, she could not keep this grand vision to herself and rushed to share it with everyone. She described the towering trees and the exotic blossoms she planned to grow, painting a picture of paradise with words. However, instead of the support she expected, she was met with cold stares, heavy skepticism, and mocking laughter from them. They told her the soil was too poor, the climate was wrong, and that she lacked the skills to succeed. Their harsh words pierced her heart like sharp thorns, instantly deflating the balloon of joy she had carried moments before. She returned home feeling heavy and defeated, allowing the seeds of doubt planted by others to take root in her mind. The negative voices of her neighbors echoed loudly in her head, drowning out the quiet whisper of her own intuition. Seeking solace and clarity, she wandered into the ancient woods, hoping to find a cure for her broken spirit. Deep within the forest, she stumbled upon a humble cottage where a wise old woman was tending to her herbs. The elder sensed the young woman's distress immediately and invited her to sit down for a cup of warm tea. She poured out her heart, explaining how her beautiful dream had been crushed by the cruel words of her neighbors. The wise woman listened in silence, nodding slowly as she understood the pain of a dream exposed too soon. She stood up, walked to a shelf, and returned with a tiny, hard seed resting in the palm of her hand. She looked at the girl and asked a simple question that would change the young woman's perspective for the rest of her life. She asked, "When you plant a seed, do you dig it up every single morning just to show the neighbors? If you expose the roots to the light before they are ready, the seed will surely die and never bloom. Some things in this life require absolute darkness and silence to grow strong roots before they can ever reach the light." The young woman realized that her dreams were fragile seeds, needing the dark, warm embrace of silence to truly survive. She understood that by sharing her plans too early, she had exposed her fragile dream to the scorching heat of judgment. With a renewed sense of purpose, she thanked the wise woman and walked back home, carrying the lesson in her heart. She returned to her land under the cover of night, looking at the empty field with a completely different mindset. The very next morning, she changed her strategy completely and built a tall fence to shield her work from prying eyes. She toiled in absolute silence, digging the earth and preparing the soil without uttering a single word about her plans. The neighbors grew curious about her silence, but she gave them no fuel for their fire and kept her head down. Inside her sanctuary, she carefully selected the best seeds, treating each one as a sacred promise of the future. She planted them deep within the earth, covering them with soil and trusting in the invisible process of growth underground. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, as the seasons shifted and the weather tested her quiet resolve. Even when the storms came and the rain poured down relentlessly, she continued her work without complaint or need for validation. Her hands became rough and calloused, but her spirit grew softer and more resilient with every day of silent labor. Outside the fence, the whispers continued, with people assuming she had given up because they could no longer hear her boasting. She heard their doubts drifting over the fence, but she let them pass like the wind, focusing only on her garden. Under the surface, a miracle was happening as roots spread deep and wide, anchoring her dream firmly in reality. She used the silence to learn and master her craft, studying the needs of every plant with obsessive dedication. Slowly but surely, The chaotic patch of dirt was transforming into a structured sanctuary, hidden away from the world's eyes. One morning, the first rare flower opened its petals, revealing a color so vibrant it seemed to glow in the light. She touched the delicate petals and felt a surge of triumph, knowing that her silent patience was finally bearing fruit. The garden was no longer just a dream in her head. It was a living, breathing reality of breathtaking beauty. When the garden was fully in bloom and strong enough to stand on its own, she decided it was time. She threw open the gates, not to brag, but simply to let the beauty of her creation share itself with the world. The neighbor who had mocked her the loudest stopped dead in his tracks, his jaw dropping as he saw the paradise. People gathered from all around, staring in absolute wonder at the rare species and the magnificent design she had created. The friends who had doubted her abilities walked in with humble steps, their criticism replaced by pure admiration and respect. She stood among her flowers, not with arrogance, but with the quiet confidence of someone who knows the value of work. The neighbor approached her and asked how she had managed to create such a miracle, while everyone thought she had failed. She simply smiled, held up a small seed, and shared the wisdom that had guided her through the long year. She remembered the old woman in the forest and realized that the silence had been her greatest ally and protector. She told him that while they were talking, she was working, letting her dream grow roots deep in the darkness. The garden became a place of joy for everyone, proving that results will always speak louder than any promise ever could. Just like the flowers, your dreams need a safe space to grow before they are ready to face the world. She did not stop there. She continued to tend to her garden with the same silent dedication she always had. The world is full of people who talk about what they will do, but true power lies in doing it. Remember that the most critical part of growth happens when no one is watching, in the quiet moments of effort. Protect your dreams from the premature judgment of others by keeping them close to your heart until they are strong. When your results are undeniable, the critics will have no choice but to silence themselves and admire what you built. She passed the lesson on to the next generation, teaching them that the magic lies in the action, not the announcement. Do not seek permission or validation from those who do not understand the vision that has been placed in your heart. Let your hard work be the noise, and let your success be the only announcement that the world ever needs to hear. Every drop of sweat you shed in silence is a down payment on the future that you are building for yourself. There is a profound peace that comes from knowing you do not have to prove anything to anyone but yourself. Build your foundation in silence, so that when the winds of criticism blow, you will stand tall and remain unshakable. Those who once laughed will eventually come to learn, for excellence is a language that everyone is forced to respect. So, take your dreams and bury them deep within your daily actions, shielding them from the harsh light of public opinion. Write your plans in pencil, but write your actions in ink, for it is the doing that defines who you are. Your life is your own garden to tend, and it does not require an audience to be beautiful or valuable. If you are working on something special right now, keep it close, keep it safe, and keep going no matter what. Trust that the time will come when your work will shine so brightly that no darkness can ever hide it again. Be the architect of your future in the quiet hours of the morning and the late hours of the night. Do not let the noise of the world distract you from the silent symphony of growth happening within your own soul. Remember the lesson of the seed. It does not scream to announce its growth. It simply grows and breaks through barriers. May you find the courage to work in the shadows, so that you can one day stand proudly in the sun. Let your success be the surprise that shocks the world, and let your silence be the loudest sound in the room. Thank you for watching Motivation Stories Vault. Let your actions speak louder than words, and may your own secret gardens bloom.